Young at Heart by Pam Young. Water! A couple of years ago, when we had just returned from a much-needed vacation, we were greeted by one of the worst nightmares. Coming home with 2 suitcases filled with damp and smelly clothes from being in the tropics for 2 weeks had kept my mind focused on a marathon laundry session. There's nothing worse than a tropical Mount Washmore. Walking into our home after being gone for so long is always a joy to me. I love my home, and I couldn't wait to cook after I booted up the washing machine. It's fun to go on vacations and eat in restaurants, but for a cook at heart, there's nothing like playing in the kitchen when you've been gone a while. Before we had had a chance to empty our suitcases, I'd headed for the sink with some vegetables to wash while Terry prepared the Weber to barbecue some hamburgers. "Hi, you shiny sink," I said in a tone I use for only my best friends. I turned the handle to the faucet and it said, "That's faucet for there's no water." Egad, we live on a well. The good news was the well was not dry, but the bad news was we had to install a new pump. $5,000, and 3 days later we got to get wet again. Our sweet neighbor Michelle had invited us to shower at her house, and the walks down our long driveway with a towel over my shoulder, carrying a purple Fly Lady grocery tote filled with toiletries and a nightgown and slippers made me feel like I was at Camp Juliana, the Girl Scout camp I went to in my youth. Walking home in my jammies tickled me. I pretended I was camping and my home was the tent of a king. While we waited for the pump to be replaced, I had gone into Little House on the Prairie mode. With bathing taken care of, cooking was more of a challenge. I had no idea how much water I use when fixing meals. That first day, I had to go to Safeway and buy 4 gallons, not knowing how long it would last. 5 hours later, I was back at Safeway on another water run. Thank God I didn't have to run down to the river and fill buckets like the pioneers had to. So much for glorifying Little House on the Prairie. I learned back then that I waste water, and I vowed to be more conservative with my use of it. Now, 2 years later, I'm afraid I've gotten back into take-it-for-granted mode. So I think every once in a while I'm going to shut the water off from the house and we'll spend a day in camp mode. We won't go to Michelle's to shower, but we'll live on 5 gallons to reset our gratitude for the precious clean water we've been so blessed to have. For now, I'm going to get a drink of it. Will you join me?